Today we discuss the Pokemon bubble and the hidden truth about strong investments. I'm Kakashi with Kanto Capital. Welcome back, everyone. So, I rarely delve into opinion pieces. Actually, I'd say I almost never delve into opinion pieces. So, this is your rare chance to get my personal thoughts on the state of the Pokemon card hobby. For regular viewers, you know I'm very focused on facts and data to drive my decision making. I want to take all my personal emotions out when I'm making my investing decisions. But with the way things are moving today, I felt it was important that I share my personal thoughts on this bull market and the state of the hobby. I won't be backing this with the usual details that I normally deliver. However, this is a message that I believe needs to be heard. If you're new, consider subscribing. We talk about collecting and investing into Pokemon cards. You get the perspective of someone from traditional business and finance. It's free to subscribe and it helps support the channel. For regular viewers, thank you so much as always for your support and coming along on this journey with me. If you enjoy the channel, your help goes a long way, so subscribe now. So I don't know if you heard, but Pokemon prices have absolutely spiked high this year. The hobby might be the strongest that it has ever been. When Pokemon first came to America in 1999, man, that's a long time ago, it was a phenomenon. But that was with pretty much only the kids, the children. And if you're listening to this, that's probably you as well. And of course, as kids, we loved it. Or it wouldn't be considered nostalgic like it is today. Whether it was the cartoon, or the cards, or the merchandise, it was just magical. It was fun. It was a different time. But it wasn't that long ago that people pretty much forgot about Pokemon. I mean, we all knew it was still here. We saw the Pikachu merchandise around, the cards were still around, but it was really just an afterthought for most people. I actually remember, personally, saying to myself, wow, I guess Pokemon is pretty much dead except for the games. I must have said that maybe about, I want to say 10 years ago or so. And then suddenly in 2016, Pokemon Go happened. Pokemon Go, it was like the Pokemon we remembered in 1999. Except now, it wasn't just kids. It was full-grown adults. We have teenagers, we have children, and we even had senior citizens who never even grew up with Pokemon going out and trying to catch them all. We had different races, different backgrounds. Every type of person that you can imagine, they were out there. It was almost like some alternate reality where everyone is excited and happy. It's like an oasis. The parks were flooded. We all had our heads buried in our phones trying to catch Pokemon or just find one, to be honest. And even constant problems with the app didn't stop the excitement for, I want to say, at least 3 months, maybe 4 months before it finally started to die down. And with that excitement, even the trading card game saw a surge. Prices spiked on the cards, and it was the prices that the Pokemon card hobby hadn't ever seen. And it made sense because it was the Pokemon Go bubble. It's one of those once-in-a-lifetime events that we weren't ever going to see again. And people knew, or supposedly knew, that once the craze ended, the prices would probably come back down. And here's what people never seem to understand about bubbles. The bull markets, the bubbles, whatever you want to call them, whichever side you want to take, they're never the same. When prices skyrocket, there's always some reason that someone has to point out. And the detractors always say, oh, that's never going to happen again. And they're actually right. The exact same event doesn't happen again. Whether it's the Industrial Revolution, or the dot-com boom, or the housing boom, it's pretty much never the same thing. History doesn't repeat, but it does tend to rhyme. And yet, despite this once in a lifetime Pokemon Go bubble that was quote unquote unsustainable, here we are with Pokemon again in 2020. Yet again, we see the hobby blowing up to record prices and record demand. Businesses are spending literally tens of millions of dollars buying out collections. Wealthy investors are actually coming into this space and building positions and companies. Modern social media stars, this generation's version of celebrities, are reliving their childhoods and buying the cards that they could never afford when they were kids. And regular people like you and me, we're just here hoping our local stores will have something, anything really, on the shelves. And people have been saying lately that these prices are ridiculous. And I understand why people feel that way. But are the prices crazy? If we look at the prices today, you definitely have a case. You have an argument that maybe the prices are crazy. But you know what was actually crazy? It was the prices before this bull market. What was ridiculous was the prices before the market started going up in 2020. Think about this for a moment. Just sit and let this process in your mind. Base set Charizards. That's the first set ever in Pokemon. It's over 20 years old, and Pokemon cards are still here today. And base set Charizard, it was always the most widely coveted card in the entire hobby. Maybe it wasn't the rarest, maybe it wasn't the most expensive, but it was still, after 20 years, the card that everyone has to have in their collection. If you have the money, that's the first card that most people start at. And yet, at the beginning of this year, you could still buy near mint base set Charizards very easily for, let's say, $100 or less. And for a hobby with that much history and a card that pretty much every collector needs to have in their collection, and the most iconic card could easily be bought for, let's say, $50? That sounds crazy to me. And don't even get me started on the rest of the holos and base set, or how cheap first edition and shadowless cards were for the longest time. In my opinion, the prices before this bull market were dumb cheap. Think about the market fundamentals. How big is Pokemon today? Not just the cards, but what about the video mainline games, the video games? What about the alternative games and the app games? I mean, even Pokemon Go is still producing massive revenues and profits today. And of course, let's not forget about the cartoons and the movies and the merch. It's cultural and worldwide significance. It's sales data. That's what was crazy. Prices should have not been that cheap. That's what was just insane. I think prices were just getting up now to where they should have been all along. And now we're just trying to find that equilibrium, that price discovery, and we're just trying to determine its true value now. But in the end, this bull market made perfect sense to me. It's just been catching up to where it should have been. And now people are talking about bubbles, and we're setting record prices, it seems like every month or two. We have celebrities, again, coming in, spending huge amounts of cash that most of us could only dream of. And it feels like prices are very high now because of where it sat for so long. But here's what I think. I think we all just got a little bit too comfortable. The hobby had sat still in time. It was just frozen in time for a couple of years or a few years. And it was on its own little deserted island, and everyone forgot about Pokemon cards except for the people that were already here. And just when we forget about Pokemon, it just always suddenly comes out of nowhere, like it always does, and it announces yet again that Pokemon is still here and it's here to stay. And it always reminds us that we don't just remember Pokemon. We don't just remember it. For a lot of us, Pokemon is a part of our life story. It's a part of our growth and the fond memories that many people had growing up. It's part of who we are today. And for a brand and a hobby with that much importance and that much history, cards like the base set Charizard should have never been that cheap. Name any vintage card you want and find out what they cost in 2019 or at the beginning of 2020. And ask yourself if those prices really make any sense to you, especially when you compare it to what Pokemon means to society today. When Pokemon Go exploded, that should have been a sign for all of us. When you see people of all ages, all ethnicities, and all backgrounds going out and participating in this cultural phenomenon yet again, it proved that Pokemon was always here. Just like we never forget Coca-Cola or Disney or Nintendo. So when Pokemon card prices exploded in 2016, we should have known better. We should have known the Pokemon card hobby would have been fine. It just needed some time to cool off and relax. And people in Pokemon were talking about bubbles in 2016 and how those prices were unsustainable. And Pokemon Go was this lightning in a bottle. And we should never expect something like that again. And they're right. Pokemon Go won't happen again. And yet here we are again in 2020. And man, what a crazy year 2020 has been. But here we are, talking about yet another Pokemon bubble. And yet again, the prices are unsustainable, just like they were supposedly in 2016. Yet again, we're in another bull market with record-setting prices, and the reasons for it are something, once again, that we'll probably never see again. Just like we'll never see a dot-com boom again, and we'll probably never see a housing boom like that again, and we'll never see the Pokemon Go boom again, and we'll probably never see this crazy 2020 pandemic, stimulus money, influencer-driven bull market again. But just like every other bull market, whether it's the traditional economy or Pokemon cards, history doesn't repeat, but it does tend to rhyme. I'm Kakashi with Kanto Capital. Thank you as always for watching. If you're new here, consider subscribing. It's free and it helps support the channel, so subscribe now. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.